You may have heard or read about my next guest. They're identical twin brothers who were separated when they were 3 weeks old. I said 3 months earlier. They're 39 years old now, and they were reunited just a few months ago. And although they were raised without ever knowing each other, there are remarkable similarities and coincidences that have happened in their life. And they have been investigated by psychologists, and I guess still are. Would you welcome, please, Jim Lewis and Jim Springer. When I said identical twins, I assumed that people thought you were going to look exactly alike, and that is not exactly the identification of identical twins either, right?
No.
You're born from a single egg, right, as twins?
Right, everything the same.
And you had not seen each other for 39 years?
Right.
Now, which one's Jim Springer and which one's Jim...
Lewis.
The name
Jim
Lewis.
Springer. It's Jim Lewis.
Jim Lewis.
Right.
Now, how did this all come about now, that you were separated when you were 3 weeks old?
We just put up for adoption by separate, adopted by separate people.
Oh, I see. You were both adopted.
Right, by separate families.
Now, how did you ever find out along the way that you had a brother?
Jim's known for quite some time.
Now, how did you find
I
out?
went back a year and 4 months later after she took me home.
Right.
For the final adoption papers. That's when she found out that I had a twin brother.
How old were you then?
I was a year and 4 months old at that time.
Right.
And that's when she found out that I had a twin brother, and his name was Jim.
Right, now my parents, when I was 6 years old, went to adopt another child, and they found I was twin, but however, they was told that he died at birth. So I've always believed he died at birth. So after 39 years, it was quite a surprise,
Yeah,
all of a sudden, boom, you got a big brother,
Well, how did you finally find out after 39 years, even though you knew when you were young?
Okay, I tried several times up to just about 3 or 4 months ago to try to find my brother. Then I took my adoption papers to probate court.
Right.
And they said if they could locate my brother Jim, well, they would write him a letter and see if he wanted to meet me.
Right.
Well, 4 weeks later, that's what happened. Jim gave me a call, and that's when we had a reunion.
Right.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. It must have been a rather strange feeling.
Oh, it
actually,
is,
even though you're brothers, you're really complete strangers when you met.
It is.
Now, the similarities...
Good feeling, though.
Huh?
It's really good feeling.
It must be, but a very kind of ambivalent feeling.
Right.
You're saying, hey, here's my brother, and I guess he is.
Right, yeah.
But you found out you were.
Sure.
Now, the amazing coincidences that came out, amazing number of similarities.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
one of you want to talk about this first?
There's a lot of things that,
Now, what do you
it
do
even
for a
amazes us.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a record clerk for a utility company.
Right, and
I'm a security guard for Teledyne High Steel.
right. Now, what are some of the similarities that have happened in your lives?
Well, we both, Jim's been married 3 times. I've been married twice. His first wife, name the same as mine.
His first wife is the same name as
Right.
yours.
And our second wife are both first name. We both named our first son the same, James Allen. We both have brothers named Larry. And we both named our dogs Toy. We both been on vacation in the same place, in Florida, exact same beach.
Right. Now, one or two of these things, I mean, it might not be so unusual that you both name your child the same name, right?
Oh, yeah.
But as the psychologist, where'd they take you? Some scientists wanted to...
Right, we went to University of Minnesota.
Because if I understand, there have only been about... How many times have been twins that have been separated? 70 sometimes.
Right,
It's happened in history.
73, I believe it is.
Right. So they took you where?
No, we went to University of Minnesota for a week, and we was up there for a whole week for just a complete battery of tests, one right after another up there. They took blood tests, X-rays.
Yeah, the same blood type, obviously.
Right.
Personality test, motivation.
You took all of these separately.
Right. Oh yeah, we was never together. We only passed one another in the hall every once in a while,
Tell them the story that I have down here, which they did. They gave you something, a project or something to do, but they kept you. This is the boggles the mind.
Right. They used to give you ink blot test,
Yeah, the Rorschach test.
Right. And it's sort of, they're finding out they're doing not. You can make too many things out of it, So they put us on a video. They had a video machine on us on this one segment testing. So they told us to draw something. Of course, we're separate. I mean, he's someplace in the university in the afternoon. I'm in there. So we told us to draw something. So I draw a picture of a person, of a body, scribbled one out, the whole body. Well, when they took him in the afternoon, he done the same thing.
He drew a picture.
Right.
The same.
Of a person. Rather, I mean, it could have been a house, it could have been a car, it could have been anything. But we both drew the same thing.
Yeah.
They also gave us they give you a picture of something and make a story up about what, give your view of what
In other
the
words, they
story.
could give you a picture, and then they'd say, write a story.
Right, make up story and make it a beginning and an end, And so we both come up with the same thing on that, which
You both made up
could
the
go a lot of different ways too.
All of our tests, Johnny, showed so far that they're identical. It's just like the same person taking the test twice.
Right.
They're that close.
That's a strange feeling.
Sure
It is.
Do you remember what kind of story you wrote when you saw the picture? Do you remember it all?
Briefly, it was a woman and a man and a child, and the man was working in the field, and the woman was, I believe she's pregnant, wasn't she?
Right.
Yeah, but I remember he made a joke about she forgot to take the pill.
Yeah. And you both
That
had
was
the same-
one thing he did. I didn't say.
You both had the same kind of
Right.
story.
And so we both made out the same story on the whole thing.
Now, what are your hobbies? What do you do for hobbies?
Carpentry,
Yeah, blueprinting. Both of them the same thing.
carpentry and blueprinting. We both like carpentry and blueprinting.
Both of us have been in law enforcement, too.
You both have been in law enforcement. It's really strange.
Sure is.
Does science attribute most of this to the fact that all of these similarities are just not happenstance? I mean, or some wild coincidence way above the law of probabilities, but because you are from the single egg?
The way the tests are coming back. I don't know what to think of it yet.
We're
The tests are
blowing
coming back.
Yeah. Now,
It's blowing ours, too.
are they going to keep you under observation and make more tests?
But Jim has adopted a set of identical twin brothers.
Now, you adopted
Right.
identical brothers. Now, how
All
about you?
four
You
of
both
them.
adopted children.
Right, I have two adopted brothers and adopted sister.
All four of us going back there this summer for more tests.
Now, you know,
University.
they've made movies on identical twins where one thinks of something and the other brother,
Corsican brother.
the Corsican brothers, right, will pick it up. You know, if you're angry, the other person is angry. Have they made any tests on that of what you feel, what the other person is thinking at any given time?
They could have, John. We took so many tests down there. That's a good possibility.
Yeah.
We haven't got the results back from that. We haven't got all the complete
still-
results yet.
This is fascinating. Let me take a break here and we'll be right back after this. Don't go away. We're talking with Jim Lewis and Jim Springer. Although the incidence of identical twins is not tremendously great, I was just looking here. This says identical twins who've been raised separately apparently are very rare. That's why psychologists have found it. Only 78 cases in the whole world, and only a handful of those who were raised apart by non-biological relatives after being separated very early, which falls into your category.
As far as I know, we've been separated longer than any twins that ever have.
Yeah.
We've been tested.
And I was looking at some of these similarities. You mentioned you both have a dog. I missed that. You both have a dog, and the dog is named Toy.
Right. We both make it called toys.
Now, that's not a common name for a dog.
No.
You know, if you said the dog was named Rover, you'd say,
Yeah, right.
big deal. But both...
They married
Vice-
wives
I'm sorry.
with
Yeah.
the same names,
Right.
didn't you?
First time, second time.
Isn't that incredible, Johnny?
They both named their, let's see,
They both
the
had
firstborn,
wives.
James Allen, although one spelled Allen with one L. But both of them named him James Allen. Both your first wives were named
Linda.
Linda.
And in my
vices?
present wife's named Betty.
Yeah.
And his second
What
wife's
vices
named
do
Betty.
you have that's similar?
Pardon me?
How about,
What
drinking?
vices? I mean, do you guys ever, sit by yourselves and talk about your vices that are similar?
We didn't have too much chance to really talk to one another, really, because we were always going someplace or something. We live about 80 miles apart. And
But
so,
you like to drink or,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, both of us like light beer and know what you mean?
Yeah, and you like a certain type of woman and...
one we have.
Now,
Brazilian,
are your wives similar looking at all, or similar in personality?
They're similar looking. They could pass for sisters. And
Is that right?
Personalities are the same.
That is interesting. Are they both blondes, or are they different color hair? Or?
Brown. Both of them
Mine's
got
a
brown hair.
Light brown.
Yeah. You say you drink, but you both like beer. How about soft drinks?
Yeah, Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Both of them same.
Both of you?
Same color, blue.
Same color as the favorite color, blue.
Right.
I read about you in the paper.
Yes.
And I read that one of you said that you had a feeling of being incomplete all your life.
Yes, it's true.
And I think that must have been quite
I don't know
strong.
whether they heard that. The audience heard that, Jill.
Yeah, they said, one of them said they had a feeling of being incomplete.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's really hard to explain. We have talked about that. If we both felt like there was something missing out of our lives, and then when we met, that feeling was gone. And when we met, it was just it wasn't like a feeling of meeting a stranger you've never, or I don't know. When we first met, it was just a feeling
This may be a
of
different-
meeting your brother,
No, that's what I was going to ask you without embarrassing you. Did you feel a closeness,
Right.
some kind of affection that you
There was
wouldn't
no
normally
compassion.
feel when you just, a
Right.
compassion that you wouldn't feel if you just met a stranger.
That's right.
Well, that's interesting.
When I left from Lima down to Dayton to meet Jim for the first time, I was nervous wreck.
I would
My hands
imagine.
was really dripping with sweat, you know. And when I met Jim for the first time, it was a calm feeling. It was really good. It wasn't like meeting a stranger.
Well, there's something scientifically you just can't, pure technical doesn't answer it. I mean, it's all, it's
That's
all
same
an
with there's
emotional
no.
thing.
I talked to Jim on a Monday night for the first time on the phone, and we made arrangements to meet on Friday evening.
Right.
And there's just no way either one of us can tell you what went through our minds from that Monday to that Friday. I mean, there's not knowing one another, not seeing one another. You just
You feel
know,
the same
there's a
way?
million and one questions.
See, now both of you have the same quality and timbre and tone in your voice. And I get the impression you're both rather quiet. I mean, I get that feeling kind of private people in a way.
It is too, yeah.
Talk about voice, Johnny. Jim's pulled tricks on me a lot of times over the telephone to my wife.
Called, you have that
Hot
same
water.
timbre, yeah. The same range. Not too many tricks, I hope. I don't know whether you brought this
One
out.
I got on him good.
Yeah. You mentioned that both of you specialized in blueprints and furniture, but your specialty, the things that you do in woodworking, were exactly similar. Dollhouses, is that true?
Yeah.
Small furniture, yeah.
Small. That is wild. Are you going to get to spend a little time together now?
Oh, yeah, as much as we can, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you both
Planning to
live?
get a
Where's home for
vacation.
both of you now?
I live in Dayton.
You live in Dayton,
I live in Lima.
Ohio.
Ohio, yes.
So you're not too far apart then.
No, about 80 miles, I think.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, Jim's, I thank you for being here tonight. It really has been fascinating. You've got a lot of catching up in your life to do.
Yeah.
Hope you get a
Hard
chance.
after 39 years.
Yeah, hope you get a chance to spend some time together.